You're watching a Satluj TV news special. I'm Angus Scott in London. In a sign of a growing, huge global power play underway between the world's superpowers, Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Papua New Guinea yesterday for talks with Pacific Island leaders, the first visit by an Indian premier. Modi's visit coincides with a separate visit currently underway by Washington's top diplomat, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, to the small island nation. So why are two of the world's most powerful nations suddenly sending two of their most significant representatives to what is a small and relatively insignificant Pacific island and its neighbours? In fact, it supports growing evidence of a much larger story unfolding, which in turn could have global consequences. The clues start unfolding as it was announced this morning that Papua New Guinea will sign a defence pact with the United States. In turn, the separate talks with India's Prime Minister have been admitted as focusing on China's rising influence in the region. In fact, Beijing has been pouring vast sums of investment into the Pacific, which has alarmed New Delhi officials who consider the region to be its backyard. Both visits also come after Modi joined leaders from the United States, Japan and Australia on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Japan for a gathering of the Quad members, which aims to contain China's growing assertiveness in the Indo-Pacific. G7 leaders, along with Modi and others invited to the summit, warned China on Saturday over its militarization activities in the Asia-Pacific region, but also added the bloc wanted constructive and stable relations with Beijing. As the G7 nations wrapped up their Hiroshima summit, they laid out a raft of concerns about China's economic and military activities in their final communiqué. New Delhi is increasing its engagement with the Pacific Islands because of their strategic location and fears that China could fill voids left by other powers. The United States fears that a Chinese military foothold in the South Pacific could outflank its facilities on Guam and make the defence of Taiwan more complicated in the event of a Chinese invasion. And there's the rub. What is unfolding is a global game of chess, as both China and the world's other major powers race to court and secure alliances with as many key staging posts in the region, preparing for a future battle over Taiwan. It's a geopolitical dance of heavyweights, offering huge financial incentives to these tiny nations in exchange for allowing the superpowers to use them as future military launch points. Under the guise of peaceful discussions, the superpowers are racing to place their chess pieces in as many strategic points as they can in preparation should China launch an invasion of Taiwan. As the international power play unfolds, it is a sign of India's growing confidence as a global leader that it finds itself rubbing shoulders with other superpowers in this feverish scramble for strategic assets in the region. As the game unfolds, India's place in the New World Order will undoubtedly be determined by its successes in these early stages. Alliance with the right tiny nation now could be instrumental in shaping the winners and losers of the second half of this century. But as we observe these pieces falling into place, the greater concern, of course, is the sinister message all this implies. Governments the world over are clearly preparing for a military confrontation with China over Taiwan, and that should concern us all. You've been watching a Satluj TV news special, and you can find more stories in detail on our channel Satnet News, so it's worth clicking on that subscribe button to make sure you get to see stories as they're broadcast. And don't forget, if you have any comments or opinions on any of our news stories, you can comment below or drop us a direct message at message@satlujtv.com, and we would love to hear from you. In the meantime, thanks for watching. For Satluj TV News, I'm Angus Scott in London.